What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Aspiring Gearhead. So today we're going to be working on the Elantra. Just kidding, that's the Lexus. But we will be working on the Elantra. What I'm actually going to do though is I need to change the oil on it, and then I'm going to get into what will actually be the main subject of the video. But the reason we're dealing with the Lexus first is because I also need to change the oil on it. See, what had happened was my aunt, who had me car sitting while she was doing the van life thing, is actually back in town, but she's staying with us for a little bit, and she's gone back to using this car as her daily. But when she went to fill up the gas tank, she made the mistake of putting in diesel because her van takes diesel and she just went for it on reflex, which messed up this car. It actually backfired so much I was wondering what was going on outside. So luckily, she only put in maybe, I think, $5 or $10 worth of gas, and then she topped it off with the correct kind of gas. So it sputtered and didn't run quite right for a little while, but she kind of drove it to cycle it out. Now that it's back to a point where it's relatively normal, we're taking this time to go over what might have been messed up by the diesel. So going to change the oil. She gave me some fuel injector cleaner to put in it while I'm at it. We might see what else I'm going to need to do later. But yeah, so first I'm going to change the oil on the Lexus, and then I'll be able to bring in my car so I can change the oil and then work on what I'm actually working on. Since I already have a video on this, I'm not going to bother recording it. Just figured I'd let you guys hear this funny story. Oh yeah, the other reason I wanted to show you this little bit of me working on the Lexus is because I actually got another set of jack stands, and I now have the car all the way jacked off the ground, which is pretty cool. And here's the underside of my Elantra. One thing I noticed I really like about my car versus the Lexus: drain plug right here, oil filter right here. With the Lexus, drain plug was here, but oil filter was over here. So I'm like, oh great, to have it all in one place. This should make things so much easier. Dang, that was exhausting. So now that I've finished changing the oil on the Lexus and the Elantra, we can get on to the main thing I want to work on today, which is, well, here's the deal. When you take a look at my rear tires, you can kind of see that the tread area still noticeably only on the ground. The sides, they stay up. And this is on the rear tires. But on the front tires, you can see they're noticeably lower, like the side is almost touching, and that's on both sides, which I find really weird. So through my logic, you know, despite not having much knowledge of cars, I'm thinking that either means something's weighing them down, which I highly doubt because I haven't put anything on it, or something that's supposed to be supporting isn't doing its job. So I'm gonna take a look. Turns out doing 2 oil changes in a day along with my usual errands took a little more out of me than I thought, so it's about a week later and now I'm ready to take a look. Before that, here's something fun to check out. My mom decided to use some leftover paint from when we moved in and painted the wall. It's all gorgeous and crap. And then also this pegboard, she did the same thing. So pretty cool. And then also, one other fun little thing, while I was out doing my usual errands today, I bought a stool. This is great. So now I can have a seat and really take a minute and just regret what I got myself into. Just kidding. But yeah, it'll be, I figure for what I'm about to do now, having a seat would be a little bit easier than standing up or laying down on the creeper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack the car up, pull off the 2 front wheels, and have a look at the front end. The lug nuts are now loose, and the car's back up, so now I'll take it off. I just had to also stop, take a quick break to get some water. It's really hot in here, and that was a whole lot of work, and since YouTube won't let me do this butt naked, I'll have to hydrate instead. On first glance, taking a look here, I imagine, well, actually based off just some initial quick research, one of the main things they said to look out for were the springs, which are right here. Now, my eyes are still untrained for this sort of thing, but I don't know. It's hard for me to tell whether or not it looks like they're losing some of their strength here. So I'll have to do some digging, figure out exactly what constitutes a good spring and a bad spring. But one other thing I did notice, right around the, I think, CV joint, if I remember correctly, I'm seeing this bunch of crud right here. Not sure if that indicates that this thing's about to have some kind of problem, but or that it already has had some kind of problem. But the rest of it, like I said, since I'm still untrained, I'm still not even sure what half this stuff is called. Yeah, there may be something I'm missing here, but just that from my initial glance, it doesn't look horrible. So it may just be the spring, but I want to be certain and check everything. This is the passenger side. On this side, honestly, I'd say it looks a little bit better than the other side. It's hard to tell. I don't really see any of that that black crud up here on this joint. And right now everything actually looks a tiny bit cleaner, so I'll have to do some digging, see what I can figure on my own. And then I'll know exactly what I need to order, if anything, to get this thing leveled back out. So after this first look, I could confidently say I have no idea what I'm doing here. I have no idea what I'm looking at or what I should be looking for. Of course, that makes sense. When I started on this, I only did a little bit of research just to make sure I don't look at everything and then suddenly psych myself out. You know, when you go to WebMD, because you got a cough and it tells you you have everything and you're gonna die in 6 seconds. So now that I've actually had a look, I have a little bit more of a clue. I can do a little bit more digging, ask around to a few people who are in the know, and then I can figure out exactly what I need to buy. Considering what I'm getting into versus what I've done so far, I'd say this is my first time, just dipping my toe into the deep end. It's kind of scary, but hey, I want to know how to do this, so here goes.
Hey guys, I wanted to take a second to pause the video here to give you a little aside. I know that my car is front wheel drive, and typically those have a little more weight on the front end, so the tires will be pressed down a little more anyway. But I've also noticed that my front struts failed the bounce test, you know, where you push on the car to see how long it takes for it to come back to its original position. The front struts failed, the rear ones passed, so I still wanted to change out these struts, A, for the experience, and B, because it was apparently necessary. And you'll even see a couple more things that I noticed that would seem to make it necessary later in the video. But just wanted to make sure I included that part.
I've already introduced you to my stool, which I am still so happy about having because it means I get to sit my ass down. And you've already seen my jack stands, my jack and my chocks. I've also got my gloves, my eye protection of course, my ratcheting wrenches, and I also got my other wrenches off to the side if I need them. I've got a mallet in case I have to knock a few things out. And I've also got the Pittsburgh click type 1/4 inch drive torque wrench. We'll see if this is the right one I need. If not, I can make a quick run to Harbor Freight. Also, I have a YouTube channel opened up, and I also bought this book on repairing the Elantra way back when. I'm glad I did. It's giving me some pretty good instructions, so between these two, I doubt I'll screw this up. And one other thing that I can't forget while I'm working on this is water, because it's hot in this garage, plus Arizona, and my tunes. Gotta love it. Gotta get them gains, pumping it up. Yeah, no, corny. The tires are off, and I'm all sweaty over it. But let's just say it's because it's Arizona and I'm in a garage, and not because I'm out of shape. Please say that. First thing to remove is this clip that holds the brake line to the strut. those out. Next, according to the instructions, I'm supposed to undo the clip for the ABS sensor, which I believe is right there, but as you can see, nothing in it, so I'll have to look into that, but I guess I can skip that part for now. Got the first one out, forgot to hit record, dang it! Now that I've disconnected the lower strut from the steering knuckle, I can work on taking out the upper strut mounting nuts. See, I know words now. As you can see here, there are some cracks in this part. For the life of me, I cannot remember what it's called, but the cracks are showing on both sides, so yeah, I think that may have a little bit to do with my current predicament. Pretty sure that's exactly what it is, but I want to know more, so I'm going to have a look for myself. First strut's out, and I decided to take a second to just admire my work. I'm just gonna sit here and just take it all in. That's what she said. Yeah, I'm awesome. Anyway, I figured before I got back to the other half of putting the driver's side in, I just pick these bad boys up and have a side-by-side comparison. Today's turning into arm day. So, take a look at side-by-side. And for the most part, it looks like it's okay. I mean, the spring itself, that doesn't look too cracked or anything. So I think it was mainly the strut that might have had some kind of problem. And the boot's intact. It doesn't look like anything was leaking, really. So I guess, yeah, the strut probably just gave out. So this new one's got this big metal thingy on it, which gives me some hope. I guess I didn't learn all the terminology. Also, before I start putting these back in, I'm going to take a second and wipe off these nuts, because they're these nuts. But yeah, I'm going to take a second to wipe these off. They got a little bit of grime and dirt on them, so I'm not going to go overboard with it and like polish them to like new yet. But right now I'm just going to clean them off so that they're not so grimy. Now it's time to put on the new strut. So first I'm going to take off the new mounting nuts that came with it, put those up here, and then I can slide the strut up through, and then start just tightening them enough to where it'll stay while I get the lower end back into the steering knuckle. Yeah, we'll be right back after this lunch break. These are some good eggs. Whoops. Flippies. Come on in.
No, I don't want to interfere.
Actually, I could use a hand.
Oh,
Yeah. Basically, I need to hold this up so that I can put this through.
okay. All right, let me sit down. Sorry, I'm in the ball.
Yeah, it's me. Well, my uncle came over and ended up just working straight through without recording anything, so now that it's back, here's a breakdown. When I originally took out the strut, I didn't support the rotor, so the whole thing fell down and brought the joint out of whack, which is why we couldn't line up these bolts. So ultimately what we had to do was we had to take the strut out, maneuver it back in. Ultimately my uncle had to just take a hammer and whack the steering knuckle up until we could get the nuts back in. And now I'm about to torque to spec, but he's going to get his torque wrench for me to use. After this, I'll go to the other side. On a little side note, we also used the jack stand to support the rotor, and also had to take out the tie rod to help maneuver it in place, and then we put that back in too. So we got it done. Unfortunately, due to time constraints and such, we pretty much just had to dig in and get it over with, because we had to run over to Harbor Freight to grab another torque wrench, because the one I got was too small. Unfortunately, the one I bought was too big, so I got to go back and get the one in the middle, so it'll be just right, like Goldilocks. But yeah, the new one, the new strut is in now. I managed to get through it pretty quickly, because learning from the last time, I used my jack to prop up the rotor so that it didn't come down and wrench out the joint. Which also, according to my uncle, I'm going to have to switch out anyway, but I already knew that. So, it's all good. Now we're done. The new struts are in, everything is tightened up, and it looks good. Unfortunately, I didn't get to use the torque wrench, like I said, because I didn't get the right size to match the sockets I have. For now, I'm just leaving it hand tight, like my uncle told me, but I want to see how that torque wrench goes. So I'm going to go ahead and get some sockets later, just to satisfy my own curiosity, but I don't have to do that right now. But now the main test is to put the tires back on and see how they sit with new struts. Little side note on putting these new struts in. I didn't realize they'd come with their own nuts to attach the new ones. So now I got these really clean looking nuts in this dirty engine bay. So yeah, cleaning out this engine bay is definitely on the list now, just because, man, how that looks bugs me. It's kind of hard to tell with the carpet, but I think they seem a little less pressed in. This is on the front driver's side. Taking a look at the front passenger side. Yeah, it still, it seems a little better, but not quite. Then again, like I said, that might just be the carpet. We'll see what happens when I take it out. For now, I'm going to leave the car here until I can get an alignment, just to make sure I can get a good look at everything and test it out under optimal settings. And that's where we're going to cap off the video. Sorry about the lack of footage. I'm going to make sure next time I get even more in depth with my research. That way I'm prepared for anything and I can get it right. Until next time, this is DJ, the Aspiring Gearhead. See you later.